Hello again in the UTech Pixel channel with today's video, and with this video I would like to start the series of the movies where I will more focus about the technical aspects of the game development, about the solutions that I came across while working on my project. And with this video I would like to start to discuss about the animations and the preparation of the prefabs and the way to simplify the process, because it might get a bit tedious once you are preparing, like myself here for example, preparing several variants of the same prefab. It's time consuming, it might be tedious for the developer. So I was looking for a solution to simplify this process, and I actually found one interesting one with the use of the asset that I found on the asset store. It's not a free asset, but it's not very expensive, and it's worth its price, let's say. The asset's name is animation sprite swap system. It's cost around $6, I think, but it saved me a lot of time already. So just to give you an idea, like for example, when I was preparing the rock enemy, and I have 9 rock enemies right now. Of course, I was using some variant system for the prefab that is helping to save time already. Then I also used, since they pretty much have the same number of the frames, and they can use the same animator, so I've been using the animator. I've been using the same animator for my animator override controller, but still it forced me to create a new animation for every single variation of the rock. So I had to create the animation for attack and so on, just to be able to fill the override controller. Yeah. And I did it for a cube the same way, and for the blob, I mean for the rock and for the blob I did the same way. For the cube I already start to use the different solutions. So what's the solution that I found? And actually it will be easier to present it on the example. So right now I'm working on the enemy type exploder. I finished the first, let's say, prefab, which is working right now. So I want to have some variations of this prefab. Just to do the variations, you have to go to the create, the prefab variant. Let's call it B. And I have prepared in advance some sprites for it. So let's swap the sprites. I have already 2 different variations of the sprites. We have some blue, some reddish, and okay, that's the original one. So in order to distinguish between them, let's change the first sprite. So we have already jumped to the blue, and now by using this asset which I found, you do not have to touch animator. You don't have to do anything with animation. You don't touch the animations, you don't create any new animations, you just need to swap the sprites. And for that there is a tool, there is a new option in the tooltips. It's an animation reskin asset. It's asking for the animator that you are using right now, so let's grab the exploder animator. You generating a skin that's going to be lay over the existing skin, over the existing sprite sheet in the animation. So it's looking right now for the texture. Let's grab the texture, which will be the exploder B. Generate, and it's generating the scriptable objects. That is pretty much your animation. So let's call it, for example, exploder B. I'm putting this usually in the animations. So we have exploder. Let's throw it in here. As you can see, you avoiding doing all of the animations once again. You just have the exploder. Coming back to your prefab, to the object which is holding the animator and the sprites, you need to add here the script reskin. Reskin is coming together with the asset, and just feed it with the reskin assets, reskin scriptable object. And that's pretty much all. The variation is ready and to go. So let's test it. Oh yeah, I need to remember one thing, that when I'm having a new variation, I just, for the testing purposes, I'm spawning this in the middle of the map. So let's try it out, and here we go. It should be blue. Okay, I have spawned it in the middle of the map, but in fact there are some walls. So let's try once again. This is because I haven't prepared yet the enemy spawning script, which will choose the place properly. But you can see that the enemies right now, they have different color. They are animated properly. And let's just find the... Yeah, here we go. So they are behaving exactly like I want them to behave. It's and the animator is swapping the the asset is swapping the sprites properly. So you can see how easy is this. So let's let him to attack. Okay, so you can see how easy is this without preparing any animation, without touching the controller. You just preparing one extra file, and that's all. So the advantages are pretty straightforward. It's a time saving. As long as you're preparing the variation of the same enemy, that's really easing the job. You need to remember a couple of things, that you will have to... Where are my sprites? Just to prevent you. You have to remember that new variation of the enemy need to have the same number of the frames. It does not need to be the same exactly type, let's say, it can be different type of the enemy, but it has to have the same number of the frames for every animation, like for example for idle, for run, for attack, and so on. And you need to also keep in mind that when you are using, for example, in your animations, the events, like I'm using quite often, you will have to think about this enemy to have the same, pretty much the same behavior. Like it can shoot different, for example, if it's range enemy, it can shoot different projectile, but it will shoot at the same moment, and it's behaving in pretty much similar way. It does not need the variant. You can of course make some variations to the speed of the enemy, speed of the prefabs, to the strength, that doesn't matter. It's just that you have to keep in mind when you're using the reskin that the number of the frames pretty much has to be the same for every animation, and that's pretty much all. It's still very useful. It's still saving a lot of time, and I think I will use it quite often. It saved me time to prepare the cube. Like for a cube, I didn't need to prepare any animation. I have just one animation, and all of the others, they are pretty much the... Wait a second, where is it? Cube. This is the basic folder. Oh yeah, here I have only the reskins. I'm not using any more animations. Yeah, I have to put it in animation folder. Actually, so that's pretty much all for this movie. I will put the link to the assets down in the description. I think it's really worth its price. It's worked great for the simple animation, for the simple games. It's the way to save time. For this movie, that's pretty much all. Thanks for your attention. Hope it was helpful. If you find this interesting and if you want some other movies, just let me know. See you. Bye.